Great understanding is broad and unhurried. Little understanding is cramped and busy. Great words are clear and limpid. Little words are shrill and quarrelsome. In sleep, men's spirits go visiting. In waking hours, their bodies hustle. With everything they meet, they become entangled. Day after day, they use their minds in strife, sometimes grandiose, sometimes sly, sometimes petty. Their little fears are mean and trembly. Their great fears are stunned and overwhelming. They bound off like an arrow or a crossbow pellet, certain that they are the arbiters of right and wrong. They cling to their positions as though they had sworn before the gods, sure that they are holding on to victory. They fade like fall in winter. Such is the way they dwindle day by day. They drown in what they do. You cannot make them turn back. They grow dark as though sealed with seals. Such are the excesses of their old age. And when their minds draw near to death, nothing can restore them to the light. Now, there's obviously a lot to unpack in here, and there are just so many little different things that we can talk about in this passage. It was kind of hard for me to draw one theme that I can make into a cohesive video, but I decided to focus on the part about great words are clear and limpid, little words are shrill and quarrelsome. And this is also kind of supported in the part where it says that people cling to their positions as though they had sworn before the gods. I think one thing that we can take from these two parts is the warning to be careful with our words and to be careful with our opinions. This is something that, frankly, I am terrible at, but I am working on getting better at it. I think in general, we tend to place a little too much value on our own words and our opinions, just because they're ours. And because of this, we sometimes disregard the value of our silence. It's very easy to get caught up in a heated discussion with somebody, and feel like we have to bring them over to our point of view. But how do we know that our point of view is really right? Whether we're discussing politics or spirituality or anything really, it's kind of crazy to me how dogmatic we can get about our own opinions. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, just based on my experience online, I have not seen that Taoists are generally any better at this than regular people. It's hilarious how dogmatic even we can get about the things that we hold to be important. At the end of the day, being a Taoist doesn't make you a perfect Taoist. We've all got work to do, especially me. I mean, after all, one of the main points of Taoism is to keep an open mind when we're observing the things around us. One thing that has helped me with this a little bit is to just try and focus on trying to understand people's points of view, rather than feeling like I have to assert my own. I'm also working on identifying the times where it's better for me to keep my thoughts to myself. Of course, there are times when we do need to stand up for things, or to speak up, but I think we need to be very close to our intuition to be able to know when these times are, and what the best way to stand up for something is in each situation. Sometimes the best way to stand up for something is simply by setting an example. Sometimes it is by using words, but I think in these cases, it's usually with less words than we think, and often with much less emotionally charged words than we want to use. I use this person as an example quite a bit because I really appreciate him, and I think that he's a pretty good example of Taoist teachings that a lot of us can relate to. But overall, I think Dumbledore is a great example of how to use words effectively. There are countless times in Harry Potter when Dumbledore is called out for different things, but even when others are in the wrong, he usually doesn't argue with them. Often he will acknowledge any truth he can in their statements and just focus on being as polite as possible. Other times he does stand up for something he believes is true, but he never does so by yelling or by personally attacking an individual. He always addresses somebody's actions rather than attacking their character. Another Taoist principle that Dumbledore is really good at is keeping an open mind to other people's opinions, or at least trying not to shout them down with his own. He does this even when he knows he is much more qualified to comment on something than anybody else is. One example of this is in the Chamber of Secrets, when the school governors vote to remove him from Hogwarts as headmaster. Even though he knows he is probably the best man for the job, especially under the circumstances, Dumbledore humbly obeys the order, trusting in the other teachers to take care of the students while he's gone. His only words are his agreement to leave, and his assurance to Harry that help will always be given at Hogwarts to those who ask for it. Dumbledore is a master of using less words to say more, and whenever possible, he always uses those words to convey love and respect to those around him. Anyway, that's just my read on some of this passage. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Peace and blessings.